Going off the beaten track to find solutions.
After a tough prologue over a longish 92 Ks in the Amathole 500 in the Eastern Cape, mechanics were hard at work trying to repair the damage for another almost 500 that lay ahead, but the drivers loved it.
That was, 92 Ks, which you did in 39 or 49 minutes. The average speed is over 120 Ks an hour. It was the fastest we could go is 185. That's when the rev limiter came in, and yeah, no, it was quite scary. You needed big balls to keep it flat most of the times, but yeah, no, enjoyed it.
And we figure Manfred means ball bearings. For Toyota's Brian Martin, he's still learning.
Yeah, last year was a big learning curve for us. Off-road is a very, very difficult and high endurance sport, and I don't think I was really ready for it last year, but I learned a lot. And we put a program in place for this year, and so far we're going according to plan, and our plan is basically to finish every race, and we're getting faster and faster as the year goes on, because I'm getting used to it, and yeah, we're lying second. We're 1 point ahead of the Okies in third, which I think is Yanni Visser, but this type of terrain today really suits us, and I think we're going to have a good day tomorrow, so hopefully we can catch Jack by the end of Saturday.
And with the temperatures plummeting, some teams came up with pearls of wisdom.
I think, we're busy with the race. Every race is a race on its own. And you try as hard as possible in every race. I don't think really we think about a championship. Obviously, when we get to the end, we find out that you've done better or worse. But, there's certain things that break. Like at Botswana, my gearbox broke, and we were out of the race. It happened with my time trial today, that the side shaft broke. I don't even know where the side shaft broke, because it was high speed and fairly rough at certain areas, and when we got here we found out the side shaft broken, so most probably there also we lost some time. You don't know where. Just every race is on its own, and it's fun. That's why we're here.
For Gary Bertolt and the Atlas Copco crew, there was a lot of adjustment to be done, and he had his own wisdom about the route.
I think very new, an exceptionally fast prologue, 91 Ks of unadulterated speed, tremendously fast, not technical at all. One has to be able to accommodate yourself to the route, adjust your driving style accordingly. There's different courses for different horses, and I think today we did well. Yeah, very fast though.
At the beautiful Fish River Sun, the championship pace setter, the Nissan team were taking in the tranquility and taking stock at the same time. They were cautious the next morning, but ready to do battle. Then again, three-time champ Hannes Grobler always is.
We'll see. It's quite a long way. I don't know if it's as fast as yesterday. And I think the roads are very narrow, and yesterday was quite a lot of cars on the road, so it's been going to be difficult, but we're definitely going to try and get in front. We'll have to see.
And the conditions out there today?
At the moment it looks good. They said it's going to rain, but it looks good, and as I said, it's you have to put a little bit of caution there because of the people and the villages you go through, and also some cars on the road. We'll have to see today if it's going to be the same as yesterday.
And of course, the cold was a factor. Some people watched the weatherman with intent.
On the TV last night, it had a maximum of 12 degrees, so it's going to be cold. It looks like it's going to rain, but we'll see.
And leading the class again, what are the plans for today?
Well, we're leading the championship by, I think, 40 points, so we need to finish today. That's our aim. We don't need a win, we just need to finish, so we're looking at the championship from this race on.
The Cry's teammate, former national champion Terence Marsh, had made a contingency plan against the impending rain.
Really simply is that what we find with rain suits is that it gets very, very warm during the course of an event, and then you can't get out of it. It's too hot as the conditions change during the course of the day. We're going to be out there for 8 hours. So what we find with something like this is it breaks the wind initially, and then during the course of the event we can rip it off and throw it away. So that's basically why we use it.
And the conditions today?
Well, it looks extremely cold at the moment. We've been using surgical gloves as well, and the wind's very strong, which is good for the dust. So the more wind, the more the dust will be taken away.
For the Total Motorsport crew, there was only one thing to do.
We're going to try and go out quite hard. We didn't do too well in the time trial, or it was very fast it suited the buckies better. So we qualified in 20th overall. I think we're 10th special.
so we got quite a bit of making up to do, so we're going to go out quite hard today. And there's a lot of decontrols, and you start racing again, so we don't know how it's going to plan out, so we're just going to go for it.
For Toyota, the rally expert Cronje was in the pound seats. This rally-like route suited the Castrol lads perfectly, and he was primed and ready.
Well, I think the strategy for me is really just to see what the roads are like and keep it nice and neat and tidy. It's a long race. And it's going to be important to look after the vehicle, so towards the end, if we need to push a bit, that the vehicle's capable of doing what we need it to do.
Now, you and Mansfield Schroeder starting together, so it's going to be a little bit of a dice at the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. But that's really what I'm used to, so we'll see what the first corner is like.
With the off and with Cronje's track background, there was no first corner. That all came a little later, but there was no doubt that gloves were off. Even though they were still on, it was so cold. 0 degrees at the start and not showing signs of getting any warmer. Cronje put pedal to the metal and let her rip. And the young but vastly experienced driver was reveling in these conditions. Schroeder and Huxtable, the Class D champions, upgraded to the SP class this year by Ford, and they've repaid the motoring giant with their ultra-reliable driving. While Berthold and Houghton were intent on removing the Ford filling between the Castrol-Toyota sandwich rather quickly. And the dust showed that they were closing in on Schroeder, who'd started with a 28-second advantage. 2006 champions Schroeder and Jordan too were closing, albeit slowly, trying to conserve car and getting as much as possible out of the Navara at the same time. Voss, who is becoming a master himself at conserving and wringing every ounce out of the car all at once, was also keeping the pressure on in 5th place. Visser and Badenhorst have made giant strides this season and continued to do so in the first part of the 500-odd kilometre trek through the Eastern Cape bush. Gary Berthold and Jeff Minnett brought the first special vehicle into view in 7th place overall, a testimony to the rally-like conditions out on the route. And the Atlas Copco bat was sounding in particularly good voice as it streaked by. Ford were happy to have 2 of their chargers in the top 10, and the team manager Peter Maritzburg-based Neil Woolridge and Kenny Schothammer were firing on all cylinders. So was the Ford Ranger. The Micra Excel dealer team Toyota of the De Bruins raced by next, holding station in 9th place and going well, while Cox and Tersteger seemed to have sorted out their early season troubles with a new Spec 3 bat that they unveiled, and they were going quickly. Corbett and Balzar were cleverly trying to conserve, yet trying to stake a claim in the SP Class National Championship, where they were 6th. But over the rougher terrain, the specials were closing them down, with Alberts and Hunter and Variawa and Rousseau chasing hard. Matthews and Smith were next, and it obviously cranked it wide open as they'd started 12 seconds behind Harkis and Moore, but it found a way past. While the Ford pair were also trying to look after the car in the fast sweeping parts of the route and nursing it through to the first designated service point from where they would race hard. Hutchison and Bergman were experiencing alternator and electrical problems and had themselves dropped 2 places, but write the former national champ off at your own peril. Cully Silwatt and Paul Helberg were smooth and quick over the first part of the route and looking for a solid follow-up to their good Botswana showing, with the Harpers sticking to their pre-prologue word of going out very cautiously early on. They were 8th, with the second Silwald car just a few ticks further back, and Musaji and Badiana forcing our cameraman to take evasive action here. Granted, they were riding in the dust. For the Norwegian Ivar Tollefsen and Britt Quinn Evans, this was just a 1 of 4 as they were